Welcome home, Bitcoin truth seekers. It is Friday, January 29th, 8:15 a.m. in the Arizona desert, and what a day it is. All right, well, Doge and GameStop doing pretty well, but this is the Bitcoin Daily View, so we'll start there first. BitcoinDailyView.com, check it out. Right there on the front page, I have it's a screenshot, unfortunately. That's how I got it. I didn't get it as text, so I'm just sharing it as I got it. This is a very cool little rundown on the whole GameStop hedge fund, uh, investment bank above them kind of thing that is going on right now. Take it for what it's worth. I think it's interesting. It is a very compressed and good take, quite possibly, of what we know at the moment. So, BitcoinDailyView.com, check it out. Also, a book that's very, very motivating that I'm totally digging by Jocko Willink is linked there. Discipline Equals Freedom. It's a really good way to start the year checking this book out. It's pretty badass. And also some very, very inspirational interviews that I have done recently around crypto and in general being a badass. So check them out. Okay, the crypto market against USDT or USD looking pretty darn rocking. Doge, of course, last 24 hours is up 222%, but overall recently up it peaked over 1,000%, so that is pretty amazing. Bitcoin up 16%, Ethereum up 4%, XRP up almost 10%. It was over 10% earlier. That is really rocking. XLM is a rocket ship to Pluto. ADA is back in the running. It's a good day. Litecoin up 9%. All right, against Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin's been pumping. So the market against Bitcoin, only one really showing up for work I've noticed is DGB, Digibyte, and XVG is Doge, of course, is Ethereum down 10% against BTC. BTC is pumping right now. We'll take a look at that. So against USDT or USD, market's rocking. We will look at DGB, Digibyte, since it is in the green against USDT and BTC. We'll look at that one at the end and some others. 15 billion. Let me refresh this. Right now it is 15.2, basically 15.3 billion dollars of Bitcoin trading volume last 24 hours. That is insane. 7.4 billion of that on Binance, basically 3 billion of that on Coinbase, 1.4 billion on Bitstamp. Kraken's got 1.3, Bitfinex 1.3, or actually 1.2. So big time, wonderful. And one nice thing is I did not hear of any hangups on Coinbase, so it handled this volatility with grace for a change. All right, as always, not financial advice, entertainment purposes only. I'm not a life coach or a financial advisor, just a dude in his garage. Binance, where all that beautiful volume is. Let's refresh this one more time. Yes, long 61%, shorts 38%. So the sentiment is long and happy. A great site here, linked to on the BitcoinDailyView.com. I have a link for this. BlockchainCenter.net. Very interesting little site. I do like it. Whether his statistics are correct or not exactly on whether it is alt season or not, take it for what it's worth. It is worth watching daily. I think it has value in showing where we're at. Is it altcoin season? He defines altcoin season as when 75% of the top 50 coins performed better than Bitcoin over the last season, 90 days. It's altcoin season. So interesting take on things. What I like about this site, well, one thing it says is it altcoin season yet? It says no. But what I like is this right here: coins indicating an altcoin season and coins not indicating an altcoin season. The ones indicating an altcoin season are definitely ones to look at if you're trading against Bitcoin. I like that. I like this site for that right there. All right, traditional markets, red candle today so far. For S&P 500, the KRE for bank strength index, bank strength is the KRE. It looks at a bunch of ETFs, I believe. It's U.S. banks, and it's below the 21 EMA right now, but it is trending up, so we're doing good. So S&P 500, red candle, KRE for bank strength, green candle, but below the 21 EMA on the daily. And then, of course, U.S. dollar, the Dixie, is a red candle today. But in general, we have been dumping last couple of weeks. But if you look, we have a slight uptrend right now. And that's kind of good. And we're above the 21 EMA. So dollar strength is rising. And so is Bitcoin, which is nice to see them rise together. Now, this is a daily chart. Daily MACD is starting to trend towards positive, but it has not crossed positive yet, but it's moving in that direction. We had this beautiful upwards channel you can see. We broke below it. Look at that. We're about to hop back in it. So If we get to around 39,000 or basically 40,000, which I think we're probably heading back to, then boom, we'll be back in this upwards channel. That is always a strong bullish thing. Also note the 21 EMA, we are now above it at the moment. That is very, very good. We had fallen below that. That's not a very happy place to be. So we're getting back in the channel. We're getting back above the 21 EMA. MACD is trending towards positive. We're way above the 10 moving average. So in the daily chart, that is really, really rocking. The weekly and the 3-day charts look really, really well too. But I will just skip looking at those and just tell you they look good. Because let's look at this. This is what we care about. Thank you, Elon Musk, for tweeting about Bitcoin, and just thank the crypto gods in general. This is a wonderful, wonderful day. I prefer bullish to bearish. Even though I can short, it's just who wants to short? It's just kind of like living a cynical life. And a lot of shorters are getting their asses handed to them right now. The big, big shorters. BitcoinDailyView.com. Check it out. This article up here, like I already mentioned, but it gets into how, well, it doesn't get into it, but let me just mention this real quick and we'll keep going, is that if we look at what's happening right now with the hedge funds, look at what's happening with the GameStop, Bed Bath & Beyond, AMC theaters, etc. You know, these vultures short the living hell out of those companies, basically ensuring their demise. Well, the gamma wave, I guess as they call it, you had a lot of retail investors who did fight that trend as those futures were coming to an end and they were shorts. They pumped them. It's created quite a stir. Many people think that it was all retail investors, but I would say it's also hedge funds. And I think now we're seeing hedge funds playing against hedge funds. The ones that were correct in their trading have made billions. The ones that have lost have made billions. The MSM is looking at only about kind of the losses, or they're ignoring it. They're calling people terrorists who are retail traders, which is not making retail traders happy. They're saying, no, I'm a trader. I'm not a terrorist. That's silly. So with that said, I think we're seeing an axe fight. I think the peaceful revolution is in the streets. It's between the upstream investment banks and the hedge funds. And I think that we're seeing literally the axe fight is in the streets. There's blood in the financial streets right now. And we're going to see a consolidation of hedge funds, maybe even the upstream banks, investment banks that give them money. So what I would say is we're going to see a consolidation. This is like a Highlander moment. You know what I mean? So I think that the hedge funds that played it wrong are going to become assets to the ones that played it right. Even though the ones that have played it right and the investment banks upstream are lending money downstream, we're going to see how this turns out. I don't think this is completely driven by retail investors. I think that's kind of a silly thought, but definitely, because I think definitely hedge funds are playing in it. But the role that the initial burst of retail investors caused, I think, is what kind of caused this great big turmoil. And now, like I say, the hedge funds are axe fighting in the street. This is like medieval warfare in the financial streets. So the peaceful revolution is here, and for a change, we're not the ones bleeding. Bitcoin truth seekers, the vultures who have some blood to spare, are bleeding, and no one really feels bad for them. They will consolidate, they will retain power, all is good. Now of course, traders, retail traders have gotten the T word assigned to them because the Great Reset doesn't like you. But don't be so sure that this whole orchestrated thing with the hedge funds and GameStop, etc., is not a false flag for the Great Reset to assign a T word to you and create greater regulation. And now you, quite literally, as traders have been called, terrorists and worse, need to be kept out of the market. So watch this closely. This is a time to be involved in writing your congressmen, etc., because we need to win this battle. All right, we cannot be labeled T's. I've said it enough here on YouTube. Don't let them do that. That's bullshit. Okay, with that said, the daily Bitcoin chart looking good. Bitcoin versus USDT here on the 45-minute chart. We broke well above the 200 moving average. That's wonderful. These indicators look great. If we look at a 2-hour chart, we broke back above the 200 moving average in 314 in one candle, basically. That caused a blue diamond, which is a blitz diamond. That's a super positive signal. All these indicators looking good, even if we're beginning to cool off a little bit. And the 4-hour chart, it's looking great too. On the 4-hour chart, you can kind of see we have a beautiful Darth Maul doji up here, which is definitely, now it's a green Darth Maul doji. Well, we'll see. I think we're starting to level off with this pump this morning. That Darth Maul doji, to me, kind of calls it there on the 4-hour as a bit of a level off as we wipe longs and shorts. All right, Dogecoin. which you've probably been waiting for. Okay, looking at Doge up top against USDT, on the bottom against BTC. Both of these have come down to the .5 fib level, and they're looking for a bounce. And it's all about it. Is it going to we're going to sustain this momentum and bounce off the .5 fib level for against USDT and against BTC, or are we going to go down to the 618 fib level? Now, right now Doge is looking like it's 5 cents, or like 5.5 cents, right? And that's right about where the .5 fib level is. Actually, you know what? Things have changed since last I looked at this. Sorry. So .5 fib level here on the 45-minute chart, we definitely have made a wick to it and a bounce off of it, and now we've wicked above the .382 fib level. So it looks like we're ranging between 4.7 cents and 5.7 cents, and we have wicked above. It looks like we're getting upwards momentum. Let's look at some of these indicators. Indicators aren't too bad. Still a little bit extended, but I think we are in, give or take a penny against USDT, a strong looking bounce zone. I think we're looking good. Against Bitcoin, of course, Bitcoin is pumping, but definitely Doge against the .5 fib level, it's looking like which is 142 sats. Looks like we're making a bounce off there. Wicks usually, to me, point where you want to go, and so we see two dojis here on the two candles on the 45-minute chart. Both are wicking up. They've broken through a major fib level of .5, and these fibs I drew basically when we started pumping to the all-time high, so that gives us a little bit of range. Now we can see how the fib relates to the chart. It seems to fit pretty well. So both are looking like they are gaining momentum after a bit of a pullback. It looks like a logical bounce point given the fib. I'm seeing indicators in general are looking good. Let's see what happens. I think, like I say, give or take maybe 10 sats or 20 sats. I think that Bitcoin is somewhere. I think Doge versus Bitcoin's looking at a turnaround if it hasn't already done it, and then give or take a penny as a swing. A penny basically. Within a penny, we are looking like we are moving back up for Doge. So that's pretty rocking. I wanted to mention Ravencoin versus USDT, a legit project, I think, that really got overly crushed during the downtrend of the alts. Just looking at where the pump started here on the 15-minute chart this morning, boom, up 83%. Bam! Now it's retracing to the .382. Looks like it's going to actually continue up from there, or maybe do a .5 bounce. A lot of alts are doing exactly this. So it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to see. Something I am noticing is a lot of people who had bags that were in the red from earlier are now getting to sell. So one thing I will say is, as these alts do pump like this, beware if you're riding it up. Definitely have a trailing take profit or something like that. Not financial advice and entertainment purposes only, but just be watchful, because a lot of people do have bags that have been in the red for a long time, and they got their sells in oftentimes at break even. So they oftentimes forget their sell is in at break even, to be honest with you. So be watchful. After the initial pump, you're going to see a good pullback, or as you can see, like right here, a very jagged upward pump, because I bet you there's a lot of sell orders probably right there, like 2,300 sats for Ravencoin, but it made it past it. All right, GameStop, what we've all been waiting for. Okay, GameStop. We were looking right here. I was looking at this morning. This is a 45-minute chart, and I was like, man, we from where we began to pump to the all-time high wick right there. I'm watching and I'm like, okay, this has come right down to the 618 fib level, right down to the 618 fib level. That is really badass. It's $195. I'm thinking, what's going to happen when we open? Well, when we opened with a gap, and look at the size of that friggin' gap. That is insane. I believe it was. I think when we first opened, it was about here. I think it might have been like a gap of like 50%. Or if I take the bottom of this, it's a gap of like 40%. So I mean, that is a legendary. That is a freaking legendary opening gap. Oh my gosh. So while everyone was asleep, people were buying and buying and buying and buying. Those shorters were hoping, oh God, please don't pump on open. I mean, this is insane. I can only imagine the large financial institution, the hedge fund wreckage that just happened. I mean, if you were hoping your short wouldn't get wrecked, it just got totally wrecked. So we're tracing a bit from that, but oh my God, that initial gap on open is insane. So even though they were like, hey man, you cannot trade, we're closing down, we're going to freeze these assets, so you can only sell, I believe, you can't buy. Well, there was buying going on, and boom, that's insane. So, oh my God, look at that opening gap. That is legendary. So, truth seekers, I'm glad you're here. Again, Bitcoin Daily View. This is a good little screenshot take on what's going on. If you go to the Bitcoin Daily View Telegram chat, there's a bunch of YouTubes that have been posted in there about the details of what's going on with the hedge funds and GameStop and such. If you care, if you don't really care about the traditional markets, Doge looks like it's definitely at a bounce point right now this morning. Not financial advice, but if you want to ride the wave, this is actually a very good, legit TA certified. Although it's not financial advice, it cannot be place to maybe get back in Doge if you want to live dangerously. With that said, thanks for being part of the peaceful revolution. Man, it's in the streets today, isn't it? Take care.